there was an undercover interview with Eastman, the Trump lawyer who wrote out the bullshit, like the memo that said that, Mike Pence could overturn the election. Someone pretended to be a fan and asked them some very interesting questions. And this is a multi-part, clip posting on Twitter. And I'm going to play the first couple, and you can watch the second couple if you'd like. But there's a lot of interesting information here that's come out. So, of course, Eastman has been on a cringe tour basically saying, oh, it was just a suggestion. I was just writing whatever they wanted to hear. I'm not actually, But this is when you pretend to be a fan and you don't, show them that they're being recorded. They're going to say a lot of weird stuff behind closed doors. So let's listen.
We're huge Trump supporters, and we were actually at January 6th.
Oh, yeah.
We saw your speech.
Did I incite you to go down to the Capitol and riot?
You actually incited us to become supporters of Claremont.
Oh, good. Very good.
Because, and the work that you're doing is just so critical to saving our democracy.
Thank you.
It's like, we couldn't not support your work after that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. That's very kind of you.
So thank you. You're really doing the Lord's work.
Well, and that's my old, you heard me say it. My old professor said, if you're not catching incoming flack, you're not over the target. And my God, I must be directly over it. I don't think there's anybody catch as much incoming flack.
Literally, no one takes as much flack as fucking John Eastman, the guy that almost no one knows exists. Imagine going around the side, hey, you heard about the Eastman memo? They're gonna go, what? Because our media fucking sucks and they covered up the story, right? So again, no one knows who this guy is except for these weirdos like me that actually care about the downfall and collapse of the U.S. empire and are interested to see how it goes. It's most likely going to be a fascist takeover of government. Spoiler alert, 5 years, 10 years, absolute maximum. We're going to be living in Nazi motherfucking America. That being said, let's continue.
Maybe than other than Trump himself than I have over the last 6 months. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, but I read your memo and I thought it was solid in all of its legal arguments.
Yeah.
And I was floored that Mike Pence didn't do anything. I mean, why didn't he act on it? Because you gave him the legal reasoning to do that.
I know. Now in a piece in the Atlantic 2 days ago, they're already anticipating Trump winning in 2024, and they're using my arguments from that memo that they all said had no credibility to argue that Kamala Harris can block Trump's electoral votes. I mean, it's like, it's like...
So, again, one person writes something probably as a joke in an article, and now this guy is like, see? They! Did you know that they are discussing using the Kamala Harris method? What?
I mean, come on, people, you can't...
So basically everyone's going to say, you're being proven right.
Yeah, exactly, except they're not saying that, right?
But that's what they mean.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
All of your legal reasoning is totally solid.
Yeah, there's no...
So again, this is the big one, this one. So she's basically trolling the shit out of him. It's called We Do a Little Trolling, right? That's what she's doing. I love this clip. I'm sorry, I'm going to play it again. But again, this is what's happening.
We're getting crowds late before one of their primaries. We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
That's what she's doing. She's trolling the hell out of him. And basically got him to admit that, the Coup memo was not a joke. He's been saying publicly it was kind of just, you write whatever you want, to do the job. Now, in this clip, he's like, no. Yeah, no, it was completely accurate. Yeah, I meant that. Everything I wrote there, completely legal. I'm sorry about that. There's no question. It's 100% legal to just overturn an election. All right, well.
No question, but
I mean, just supporter to supporter. Why do you think that Mike Pence didn't do it?
Well, because Mike Pence is an establishment guy at the end of the day. And all of the establishment Republicans in D.C. bought into this very myopic view that Trump was destroying the Republican Party. And what Trump was doing is destroying the inside the Beltway Republican Party and reviving the...
So, this is actually another important, part here. is that this is very true, what he's about to say. So check this out.
Republican Party in the hinterland, right? What they all consider to be, deplorable flyover country. And this uprising that Trump got ahead of, he didn't create the movement. The movement was there, and he saw it and got ahead of it.
And that's the important thing to understand. Right-wingers in this country have been dumb as fuck since the literal inception of this country. The right wing, literally, they wrote the Constitution and made up a bunch of rules and then said, all right, but we're going to have slaves. So again, they made a country about like freedom, liberty, and prosperity and all the happiness. Pursuing happiness is a God-given right. And they had slaves. They owned other human beings as property. Like again, literally, from the very get-go, the right in this country has been batshit fucking insane. Right? So when you factor that in, and then there was like a big civil rights era, right? And a lot of gains were made. But then the right wing was like, what the fuck, man? We can't own people anymore. Let's kill them. Like, look at the fucking, Tulsa massacre, that kind of stuff. Look at, there's also, parts in history in North Carolina where the Ku Klux Klan and right-wing, mobs literally massacred black members of city councils and overtook government. Actual coup d'etats in North Carolina and cities. Is that taught in history class? No. Right. And then they basically just overtook the education system. Look at Ronald Reagan's presidency. Right, look at Richard Nixon's presidencies. These are the founding of the current right-wing movement. They fucked everything up, man. I'm just telling you. They planted the seeds that are now sprouting up right here. Right? When you get a bunch of angry, asshole, doofus motherfuckers and you lie to them for generations. Because that's the project. They've been lying to them for generations. They live in a fantasy world. So when you get an entire good section of the population, a couple, dozen, maybe 3 or 4 dozen million people that literally will believe anything you tell them, all you need to do is recognize where the wind is going, put up the sail, right? And then you can steer that ship in any direction you want. And that's what Donald Trump has been doing.
But no, they can't tolerate that because they all have nice, cushy livings inside the Beltway.
So, and there's a part 2. There's more parts here, but part 1 and 2 I think are the most interesting.
Do you think if Trump came down on the 6th, would it change things? Change calculus a little bit?
If he came down?
Yeah, he said he was coming down.
Oh, down to the Capitol? Yeah, I don't know. Because the breaking of the windows stuff had already started before his speech was over. And if he got down there, then all of that would have been blamed on him. I mean, they're still blaming it him, but they would have had more basis for it.
But he'd been planning on coming down, though.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, the whole thing was a setup. I mean, it was a setup.
Wait. What was the setup? Okay, so what? Who set up who? What's going on here?
John Sullivan, Antifa guy, got paid $60,000 by CNN to break in and get video of violence. Right?
It's just a fact. Whatever. Facts don't care about your feelings, bro.
This is a fact. The Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys had not just kind of wallflowers sitting on the side of the organization, but people instigating within the association, FBI plants. It was a setup, and unfortunately, our guys walked into the trap.
But so he would have gone.
Okay, so again, this is my favorite. I love setup theory. The January 6th was a setup theory is so good. Right, so a couple FBI plants, 1 or 2 Antifas, and then we can just convince the herds of cattle to just storm through. Literally, the setup theory is my favorite. It's an absolute banger of a political hypothesis, right? So again, our guys, thousands and thousands of our guys, are so dumb as fuck that a couple FBI plants and an Antifa or 2 can convince them to try to kill the vice president and overthrow Congress. I love it. It's great.
Down there if it hadn't been for the violence.
Yeah.
Like he decided not to go because people were engaging in violence and breaking stuff.
Yeah.
Because I mean he didn't want that.
Right. No, and he immediately tweeted out what he said on his speech. Go down there peacefully and patriotically and then let your voices be heard. Right? That's what he said.
So again, you can watch more of this on their Twitter account at Lauren Windsor. Incredible video, I have to say. So definitely go follow that person. But again, you need to understand, these are like the leaders now. These are the people that are like, again, they're trying their best to read the room, and they're going to read that room and try to take up as much power as they can. And they don't give a fuck about the concept. They don't give a fuck about morals. They don't give a fuck about ethics. They don't give a fuck about what's fair. They just want power at any point and possibility. They're going to just take it. And you need to understand, we're not dealing with rational motherfuckers. We're not dealing with, let's sit down and have a conversation over a nice cup of coffee and a biscuit or something. That's not what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with dipshit, cocksucker, motherfucker, dumb fuck motherfuckers. And there is no amount of logic, no amounts of reasoning that you can provide to get these people out of it. They're drinking the goddamn Kool-Aid, and I wish the Kool-Aid would kick in a little bit faster. That's my opinion. But hey, I'm just throwing that out.